to the Lim Bances Podcast, where stories, real estate, and real life transformation comes together. Today's episode is an incredible special because I get to sit down with not just an amazing builder, investor, mentor, but also a man I deeply admire. Gabe DaSilva is the founder and the president of the Silva Group. He's the powerhouse real estate, and also he's building new construction homes, mentoring students through his A.D.D.A acceleration program, and leading the boss store that changed life. But Gabe's story is more than business success. It's about transformation. From running a restaurant to running a construction crew, from battling alcohol and finding freedom, purpose, and from chasing deals to chasing impact. He's the author of Flip Tips, a National Association of Building Award winner, an Ironman finisher, a man whose leadership changing life every single day. And I forgot to mention, he's the best chef ever. I have the honor of sharing many trips and meals with him and his beautiful wife, Amanda. And I could tell you firsthand, Gabe leads with his heart. So today, we're talking about all of it. His path into real estate, his battle and victory over addiction, and love the story shaped him, and how powerful message for anyone who is struggling in silence right now. So get ready. And to be honest, this is the best interview because he's going to be talking from his heart. He's going to be inspiring a lot of people, and his wisdom is amazing. So let's welcome Gabe DaSilva.
Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to interview you. I know I've been waiting for this. We have this conversation since Puerto Rico because I think your story is such an amazing story. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. And thank you for that introduction. That's incredible. Yeah, that's moving. It's I have a lot to live up to. Let's see.
I know. So let's start with your real estate career. I know, and I've been to a lot of your events, and I know you're starting the food service industry. So why is the reason that you got into real estate?
So I went on a hiatus after the food service run. I did 4 years in food service, and I owned and operated a restaurant. After I sold that, I went on a sabbatical for 6 months. I needed an opportunity to reset because food is very, very difficult and it takes a lot out of you. And so that 6 months gave me time to think. And then what I saw was real estate was an opportunity for me to bring the things that I learned in food, which is not very forgiving. The margins are terrible. Food turns over. Staff is very difficult, very fickle customer. Then I saw, wait, all those skills that you learned and developed in 4 years in food, if you bring them to real estate where the margins are better, where the product doesn't turn, where the consumer's easier to understand, you have a competitive advantage. And so that's why I focused on real estate.
Right. And you get to love food or how to be a chef from there because, I mean, I love the way that you cook. My husband, he's very impressed. Like in our culture, for a man to cook, it is hard.
Yes.
So, thank you for sharing that with us during those trips. But I think you're an amazing chef too.
Thank you.
Okay. So what was your first deal like? I know your first deal took you 6 months to accomplish. So what was the hardest part of your first deal?
My first deal, the challenge was probably wrapping my head around how I was going to buy it. Like a lot of times early on, investors are always struggling with how am I going to finance this? Money's always the challenge. And it's just a limiting belief because good deals are harder to find than dollars are. And I was having that opportunity. I was finding deals, but then I just couldn't, I didn't have the confidence to go find the money. I was like, I don't have the money. We didn't grow up wealthy. I didn't have access to capital. But once you find good opportunities, capital will find you. That's very, very true. And it has a lot to do with who you surround yourself with. So I started going to networking events, and that's where I found the confidence to go raise the money to do the deal. So my biggest challenge was my own negative self-belief at the beginning. Once I overcame that, I was able to raise money. I was able to get into a deal. And then, like you said, it took 6 months, and ultimately it worked out. And then we were off to the races.
I love it. And I know you've been an entrepreneur for 11 years now. right? And in real estate, what is your biggest shift? And what is the biggest shift that you have experienced as a business owner?
The biggest shift I've experienced as an owner versus an operator, I would say early on, like in the restaurant world, I was not a business owner. I was a business operator. I was in the business. We worked, I was just telling the story last night, we worked the first 7 weeks every day, 16-hour days, my partner and I. We did not take a day off. And then after 7 weeks, we were able to give each other Sundays off for a few months. And then we were able to start taking weekends off. But for 4 years, the first 2 of which we worked like every day, like whether you're there or not, you're working on the business. I was in it. So I think about in the business, on the business, and above the business. That's the transition I've made now. Now as an owner, I work above the business. I don't work on it, and I definitely don't work in it. I work above it. I bring parts and pieces together. I aggregate resources so we could do more with less. And that's been like my growth over the last decade as a business owner.
That's great. And you as a founder and president of the Silva Group, what do you focus on today? What is the most thing that you're most proud of?
I'm most proud of the wins that other people experience as a result of the things that we've shown them. Right. Like everybody is responsible for their own success, but we have a blueprint that I've worked on for the last decade, and I teach that blueprint. I show them that framework, and then people start using it, and they start seeing success with that. That's what I'm most proud of. That's the stuff we're doing with our Accelerator program and with our mastermind.
Because you are an amazing leader. And everywhere that I go, like your personality, you're super humble, you're super kind, that you just love to give. And I know your wife, she's an amazing negotiator, but you have the most amazing heart. And you know, sometimes I do get that with my husband. Like sometimes I have the biggest heart, but sometimes it's not the right way to go. But if we're different, right, it's not going to be you. Like we try to help a lot of people, but a lot of people, they don't have the right mindset. Like I always say, the worst addiction that people had is being comfortable. Like they stay on the comfort zone and they blaming a lot of people. By having an amazing leader like you been changing a lot of people's life. You're creating a lot of leaders, and they must be grateful to have you on your side. So thank you for that. And so what inspired you to write the book Flip Tips?
It happened by default. Like what I've always been very good about, even with food service, was I don't want to make the same mistake twice. I think that is a huge crime. As an entrepreneur, you have to learn from your mistakes. And in food, we were really, really good about that. And I brought that to real estate. And the way I did it was, I'm going to take a picture of this thing that I did wrong. Right. So the next time I can go back in my camera roll and I can see it. And I won't do that again. And so once I hit 100 of those, I said, wait, there's a book here. Let me take these 100 tips, these 100 things that I did wrong. These were all my own mistakes. And let's compile them into a book, and let's give the book away. We don't charge for that book. We give that book to people. And my hope is that they'll flip through it and they'll see a handful of things that they didn't even know was a possible mistake that they could make, and then they'll avoid making it.
And they could save a lot of money too.
Yeah, there's tens of thousands, I say, of dollars, if not more, in that book. If you just flip through it and you just look at those things, if you're doing a renovation, there's tens of thousands or more in savings just from flipping through that book.
Wow, that's amazing. And you're also the founder of the A.D.D.A Level Acceleration Program. Can you explain what is it and why it's so successful?
So the A.D.A Level Accelerator developed organically as a result of what we've been talking about, is people seeing me do what I do and then asking how I do it. And I said, well, let me show you, because telling is one thing, but let me show you. So that started with me bringing people to shadow me to projects. Then eventually that became bus tours, where I would put 50 people on a bus and take them to projects. And then people started asking, well, it's cool now that I see how you do it. Now can you show me how to do it? Well, that's how Accelerator evolved. People went on bus tours, and at the end of the event, they said, well, what's next? How do we get into this? So we created this 6-month coaching program called the Accelerator. And now we actually do it alongside them. We teach them, we coach them, we show them how to do it in real time on real projects. We even partner with them on some of these projects. And that's continued to evolve. It's that program just turned 3 years old a little while ago. And we've seen people have great success.
I know. And it's only in New Jersey?
No. We have people from all over the country.
I love that. And I know you guys are moving to, you're doing something in Florida.
Yes.
You're doing something in Florida. You're getting your builder's license in Florida. You already got it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So that's amazing. So what's the plan over there?
To do a variation of what we do here. Florida is different. The way you build there is different. Costs, of course, are different. But the same skills are needed there. The same thing that we've done here to succeed as investors, developers, business builders. There's more opportunity, I would say, in Florida because the culture there is just slower by nature. So when you go down there and you bring some of that Northeast energy and the know-how, the business savvy, the skills, the opportunities are endless. For us, what we're going to do is build mixed use. So I have my license. It took me a year to get. It's not easy to get licensed in Florida. In New Jersey, you just pay the state and you're a builder. It's actually kind of scary. In Florida, you have to take 3 tests and background checks and all these other things. So anyway, now that we're licensed, we're going to break ground on a project in Florida this year. That's our goal. And start building mixed use, first floor retail, apartments above. That's going to be our focus there.
And I know I've been to one of two to the both stores that you had, and the information that you get is incredible, priceless. It's priceless. Like people that they want to take your business to a different level, people that they want to learn about your construction. I think your program is amazing, and it's not that expensive. Like people, I think paying the amount that you charge is nothing. To be honest with you, when I find out, because my husband took the course, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
That's nothing. With so much knowledge, like not only the knowledge, you guys take your student to the site, you guys tell them, listen, this is the step that you have to follow. This is the thing that you have to do next. This is the contract. This is the people that you have to use. That's amazing. Like basically you're doing everything for them. So how do you feel about that you're creating and you're changing people's life?
I think that the way I think about it is that knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential power. So I give them this knowledge and these resources and these tools, and I hope that they'll go and implement. But we know the reality of like how people think, right? Like 80-20, 20% of the people will get 80% of the results because they'll do the work. So I've had to disassociate myself from that a little bit as a coach and mentor. But when you come to an event or when you sign on to our program, we give you everything you could possibly need and more. Like we give you the stuff you don't even know you need, which is us when you need us. Like when something inevitably goes wrong on a project, when the negotiation falls apart, when the model breaks down, you get to call us and we're there. We have your back. Like that is priceless. That's the support that I didn't have when I got started that I'm happy to provide to other people. And we're also pulling the curtain back. Like we don't hold anything back. I learned early on as a coach and mentor and facilitator, if I'm thinking whether or not I should keep this piece of information, that means I have to share it.
Right.
So for me, like I pull back the curtain and I show people the P&L. I show them exactly how much we made, what it cost, what we bought it for, what went wrong, and how much we spent to fix it.
Right.
When we cut down the trees and we didn't have the permit and the town fined us $7,500, I show them that. I say, don't make that mistake, right? Get the permit. Everything from soup to nuts. Even last night, the event we were talking about, I spoke at, I broke down a deal where we did really, really well. And I showed them exactly how we did what we did. Everything short from showing them the wire hitting the account. Right. And so people have access to all this. Then it's about what are you guys going to do with it? I love to see people implement. Nothing makes me happier. But if you're committed to that and you can't be committed to their outcome because that can really undo a lot of the work that I have to do to support them. Right. So I do the same for everybody. And for the 20% that run with it, like I'm there, I have their back. For the 80 that don't, we're also there when they need us. But what tends to happen is they self-select out.
I know. And that was my next question. How do you feel the people that they don't take action?
Yeah, I felt at the beginning, personally, like frustrated and disappointed, and it bothered me. And I said, well, this isn't right. Like if I'm getting personally affected by this, it's going to prevent me from serving the people that actually are doing the work. So I give everybody the same opportunity. And whether or not they move forward with it is really on them. If they do, I got their back all the way.
Right.
But I had to, like I said earlier, I had to disassociate myself from people's outcomes because it's really unhealthy when you want it more for them than they want it for them.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. And you always have to, like you say before, you have to get around the right people, like people that they have good hearts, because one apple could ruin everyone. And the next question that I have for you, Gabe, is how did you discover the power of force appreciation through other levels?
By mistake. The very first deal I did.
Or maybe the money that you were making, because,
Yeah.
as a regular flip, you just make, it's not that you don't make nothing, but it's, the money that you make doing another level is a completely
Yes. Yeah.
a game changer.
The first project that I didn't go according to plan. I went in with the expectation that I was going to do a cosmetic rehab. I hired a bunch of day labor to do demo. This was almost 10 years ago. And they demoed more of the house than I intended. And I remember after a week of doing demo, I went there on a Saturday by myself and realized this got way out of hand here. I was meant to do kitchen, bathrooms, paint, carpet, and get out of here. They demoed the whole house. So now I have no choice. Like, I'm going to have to do a massive gut renovation. And ultimately, it wound up being the right decision. Like, I was actually going to under-improve that house. These guys demoing more of the house than I wanted actually made me do what I was supposed to do in the first place, which was a full gut reno. And when I did that, and we made $82,000 or $86,000, I said, oh, wow, like, this is the game. The game is forced appreciation, gut renos, additions, add-a levels, new constructions, because I had seen a lot of people make $17,000, $23,000 on a rehab. And I was like, that's a lot of work for very little money by the time you pay everybody else. And so when I made 80-something thousand, I said, oh, I'm off to the races now.
Right.
And so the next one was even better than that. And then we went on to do a bunch of add-a levels and some new constructions. And now we exclusively do that.
I love it. I love it. And you take your students to the boss stores and to see real deals, because that's what you do. Why is that so important and for their learning journey?
Visually, like, there's a lot of different types of learners. And so some people are auditory, some people are visual. So that is an opportunity for us to serve every type of learner. So you come on the bus tour, we're not just talking at you in a classroom, we're on a bus. I'm explaining what we're doing in between the stops. We get to the house, I talk about how we found it, how we funded it, how we're doing the renovation. Then I show you it. Then I pull back the curtain and actually show you the expenses, like the scope and how much money we've spent. So it really is immersive learning. Like, it doesn't matter what type of learner you are, you can't come to an event like that and not leave with a really good understanding of what it is, what forced appreciation style renovations are. Whether or not it's for you, that's different. Like, some people leave and say, you know what? I prefer to just lend on a deal like that. I don't want to do that. That's good too. Better now than you get into a deal and find out halfway through. So that's why it's important, because it's like an immersive style learning. You're in it. You're literally in the house, surrounded by all the things that we told you are happening. So you get to see them.
Right. When do you make that decision on doing another level, or just do a regular flip?
So I model all the deals looking for what's the highest and best use. So if the highest and best use is to add square footage, force appreciation, then that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to under-improve a house just to get in and out quick. And the reason people don't is because either they don't feel confident with the raise, like they don't have the capital or access to the capital, or the amount of construction scares them. But there's solutions for that. You partner with a really good GC and you get a private money partner or a hard money lender. So, not having the dollars and not having the construction savvy, you yourself, is not a reason not to do the best deal you can do. Right. I think you'll hear a lot of wholesalers tell you that. Like, they just flip something for a 10K assignment, and then someone like me goes on to make 200 grand on it. And they're like, why did I do that? Yeah, I don't know why you did that. I don't know why you did that. Like, you should have done that deal. You should have partnered with me or somebody like me.
Well, JB,
That's
something like that.
Yeah.
That's great. And I remember when we did our first AD.A level, it was really a nightmare. Like, we almost got divorced. I think it took us like 2 years to finish it because we didn't have an idea about anything. We had all the issues, we had it in that property. The foundation was wrong, something wrong. We have to change the whole foundation. The constructors, we have to hire different contractors. So that's why my husband, he's like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. But the good thing is that we bought right. Like every property that we purchase, we don't take that much risk as you guys because paying for a property 1.1, 1.5 is crazy. Like for me, and we were talking about this with your wife, is like for me to sleep well, it's everything. But I mean, you guys take so much risk because you already know what you're doing. You already know about adding the square footage. But for us, it was so hard. But I mean, eventually we're gonna start doing more our levels. But for us to find a new deal now is so hard. For you to
We'll pay a premium.
But finding deals now is harder than before.
I wouldn't say it's harder necessarily. You're just having to pay more. So in the past, it's the same deal. It's the same deal that it was 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago. But now you pay more. But also, and then you spend more because materials are more expensive. But then you also sell for more.
Of course.
So for us, like, and I do this. I have a list of every deal we've ever done, what we bought it for, what we spent, and what we sold it for. And I have all the ratios. So I know that I buy at 40% of ARV on average. So the same house that I bought for 165 to 185, and I sold for 495 to 525 7-8 years ago, you can go buy that same house now, except it costs you 435 now. But then you're selling it for 999 or 1.1. So the ratios are all the same. It's the math is still the same. That hasn't changed. So the deals are still there. It's the same deal. I often say it's the same deal. Like I bought a house on South 18th Street in Kenilworth for 185 and we sold it for 495 7 years ago. Last year we bought the same house for 385 and we sold it for 999 or something like that, right? So the ratios are the same.
Oh, really? That's very interesting. Good to know. Okay. You always say, if you're not modeling deals, if you're not writing offers, you're not buying houses. I did my homework.
Yes, you did. Yeah, you did.
Why that message is so important?
So I usually use that to close calls with my students because I know that if they're not sending me deals to model, they're not buying houses because that's the first step. Right. You have to be modeling deals. You have to be modeling deals. You have to write offers. You buy houses. So when people are saying, I don't have any deals, it's like, well, how many did you model? How many offers did you write?
Right.
They want, I think what's often, when people are unwilling to admit is that they say, I want deals. No, you want lay down deals. You want easy deals. That's the truth. You don't want the deals that you got to comb through, that have a lot of hair on them, that you got to model, that you got to get creative, that you got to go to the town and understand the zoning. They want the deal that me and you find them, that we like scrub for them, that we get drawn up for them, that we just hand them, that they can go right to work.
Yeah.
Like
I make $200,000 or $300,000.
It doesn't work like that. So I challenge them. Listen, if you guys aren't sending me deal models, I know you're not buying houses because you have to model the deal to write the offer to buy the house. So send me deal models, even if they're bad deals. Let me see you're at least trying.
Yeah. How many students do you have right now?
Like roughly 35.
Nice, because the last bus tour that you had around more than
50 or so.
50. Wow, that's amazing.
So it's current students, and then we invite potential students. Like we invite people to come. So our events, our coaching is exclusive to students that are already in Accelerator, but our events are not. So our events, we throw them for our students, but then we also invite other people to come. So this last event, we had 15 people attend and 35 students.
Yeah, I would love to take my team to the bus tour. Yeah. What is this? What do you take on joint ventures? Do you do a lot of JVs? What makes a good partner? Because it's tough. Like in business, getting a good partner is so hard. Like the first partner that we had, of course, we're very grateful because we learn a lot. That's the way that you start. But sometimes, they don't have the same values that you have. Sometimes it could go very wrong. So how do you find the right partner, or who is the best partner to do a joint venture with you?
What you said about values is the most important thing. There needs to be a value alignment. So whoever I partner with, anyone that I do a JV with, we have to believe in the same things. We have to also be willing to win or lose together. If we're signing on to do this deal together, that's it. We're on this team together. We're on this journey together.
Important, right?
So jointly, we will win or we will lose. That's true. I feel that. About the partners with whom I am aligned, what you tend to find, though, is that people may sometimes tell you they're one way, and then you'll find out that they're not. And that's difficult. Like, you trust your gut, you do the best that you can to vet them, but at the end of the day, you have to take someone on their word. And if they prove to not be who you thought they were, that's when JVs go bad. Or another way that I've seen JVs go bad, that is one way. The other way is when life happens. Like, everything has a season. And so you might be in a JV and a partnership with somebody for 5 years and things are going great, but then some things happen in their life. Like, they buy a house, they get married, they have their first child. Okay, that changes things. Their priorities have shifted in a real way, and for a good reason. And so if you're still a single guy, for example, trying to do deals and build a business, well, now you guys have different priorities. So that's when JVs or partnerships tend to kind of flame out, which is okay. Like, that's the nature of business and the seasonality of partnerships. So I think what you said is the most important thing, is like, are we aligned? Like, do we believe in the same thing? Are we trying to accomplish the same thing here? How does that person treat other people? Watch that. Like, how do they think about money? Are they obsessed with money? Because that's usually a bad sign.
No. The minute they start, how much money I'm going to make?
Yeah.
Because you already know that we have the nonprofit organization. We help a lot of people to keep their houses. And we have agents that they say, so we helping people, so how much I'm going to make? What are we getting out of it? I was like, okay, bye, see you never. Because, I mean, they don't have the right mentality or the right values. I mean, I think we are creating a different real estate company that we really care for people, because these people that are in foreclosure, they don't really have money to pay an attorney. And if they do, I mean, they're going deeper into their problems. So, I mean, we really want to make a difference. But you're right. If you see those signs, those red flags right away, it's like, no. Yeah. It was hard for you to say no at the beginning or fire somebody at the beginning?
So, no, it wasn't. So I know a lot of people struggle with this as entrepreneurs and business owners. For me, it was not. I'm one of the people that was very fortunate. And here's why. And I don't know that this would work for everybody, but I had a partner in our first business, and he really struggled with letting people go. I didn't. I was the one that had to be the bad guy all the time. But the reason I did was I associated what we were creating with my identity, which is not healthy. I don't think other people should do this necessarily. Right. But like, for me, I was this restaurant. It was the only thing. So if someone, it would be as if someone walked in and slapped your child. What would you do to that person? Like, firing them wouldn't be hard. Killing them like would not be hard, right? So I thought about that. My business is my baby. This is my identity. If you don't respect it and treat it the same way, then you don't have a place here. And in that very first year at the restaurant, we went through so much staff, so much turnover. Restaurants are just built that way. So it really made it, I don't want to say easy for me, but I just got comfortable with separating from people. And I also said, listen, like, this isn't the best place for you. So the sooner I can, let you go here, you can move on to finding what is the right thing for you. So there's a way to frame it so it also serves them. And now I don't have to do that anymore. Like, I can't tell you the last time I had to let anybody go, because over a decade of doing this, you become really, really good at finding people with whom you're aligned. At the beginning, you don't know anything. You'll just take anybody. I just need help. Anybody with a pulse can come work for me. So if you're doing that and then you're struggling to let people go, that's likely why. But over time, you develop a really good gut feel for who is aligned with you, who you're going to be in business with for a long time. And then you don't have to worry about firing people that often. Also, one last thing I'll say, people will self-select out. So once you set the tone and you have 30, 60, 90-day onboardings, you do a lot of like touch points, you make sure that there's ways for people to understand what they got themselves into. Most people will not make it 90 days with you if they're not aligned. And if they leave on the 89th day, they did you a service, a blessing. So for me, we just value team. We value speed, responsiveness, urgency. Like, we are aggressive. We are not a casual organization. We get shit done. So if you come in and that kind of energy doesn't serve you, within 30 or 60 days, and you're usually self-selecting out.
Okay. Well, that's great to hear, because for me in the beginning, it was so hard to say no, like so hard to let people go. But now, since that we put, like you say, they already know what they're coming into. They already know our values. They already know, what's the vision, the company vision that we have. And sometimes they have to select out, but sometimes we have to let them go. And it's sad, but if you're not the right fit for whatever we're building, I mean, it doesn't make any sense that we're wasting our time. It's both our time, and that's the most priceless thing that we have. Well, your next question, Gabe, are you having fun?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
It's amazing.
What is your risk appetite? Do you always stay calculated?
So my risk appetite, I'll admit, at 43 is different than it was at 33. So I have been zeroed out. Like I have had things go wrong in my world and life where I had to start at zero. At 43, I know I'm built to do it again if I had to, but I don't want to. I just don't want to put myself in a position where I could be down and out again. So that's why I am very calculated. And the risks that I take, I don't really think of them as risks because I understand them really, really well. I don't get into a partnership with somebody who could, if they chose to, undo my entire life, right? That's a risk that a lot of people will take because they see a shiny object. Like, I'm going to get into business with this multimillionaire. We're going to do this really creative thing. And we're going to go, I don't know, trade oil in Guatemala or something. Like, listen, what do you know about that? You don't know anything about that. All you know is that someone's promising you this upside that doesn't really exist. So I've learned to be really skeptical of those kinds of opportunities. And I put them, Charlie Munger says, the too hard bucket. I put them in my too hard bucket. If that's too hard for me to understand, I'm not interested. And I focus on the things that I can understand, that I understand really, really well. And I take calculated risks. I don't really think of them as risks anymore.
Wow, I love it. I love it because I feel like I usually take a lot of risks, but not the risks that you guys take. And we always have this conversation with my husband. It's like, okay, oh my God, they're investing a lot of money. It's like crazy. Even though we would love to do it, even though we would love to do more outer levels, but just having that in mind that you're buying a property for over $1 million, like I know the turnaround is like 6 months.
More. It's turning out to be more like 10 months.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Why? Because of
zoning.
Zoning
issues with the municipalities. Things are always. It's like trying to hit a moving target with a lot of these towns now. So what used to take 2 weeks takes 2 months to get permits. Okay.
Well, I mean, it's nerve-wracking. So for us, is you guys are amazing. Like, okay. Have you ever felt like quitting?
Oh yeah.
But what was a time that you remember like this is the worst time? This is it. I'm leaving this. I'm not doing this anymore in real estate.
The first thing that comes to mind is when I first hit $25,000 a month in debt service. So I was carrying $25,000 a month in debt across all my projects. And I remember being stretched very, very thin and waiting for a deal to close just so I could dig my way out. And I lost sleep. That's the last time I ever remembered having that feeling because I remembered what it felt like. So now I just say, listen, like, and now 25 isn't what it used to be. Like we service that on like one project, like a month. So close. So now I don't have the same fear and overwhelm that comes from that, but still I do have those experiences. Like people think that like once you're an entrepreneur, and especially after you've been doing it for 10 years or more, that it's always easy. Like, no, there are days where I just would love to turn it off, but you don't get that. Like you don't get to do that as an entrepreneur, right? Like they say part-time, full-time, or all the time. We work all the time. That's our hours, all the time. So yeah, there are moments where I just want to be like, wouldn't it be great to go to work for somebody else tomorrow and then at like 4 o'clock punch out and then go home and then not think about work until the next day? Yeah, but then I couldn't not be an entrepreneur. Like that's why I say to people, a lot of people are like, should everybody be a business owner, be an entrepreneur? You should only do this if you can't not do this. Like if you can't not do this, if something in you forces you, like if you love the hustle, the struggle, the chase, like if it's like something innate in you, then do it. If you can't not do it, do it. Right. But if you could go to work for somebody else, life will be easier. It just will be. It's just a plain fact. Right. It's just simpler. But again, like I want to quit all the time, but I know that I cannot. I know that me, my being, my person, my makeup, I cannot. So I'll usually go for a run, or I'll go to the gym, or I'll do something. I'll move my body to like kind of change my state, and I'll get out of that funk, because that's the worst thing you could do, is just kind of like live in that funk, because then the negative self-talk will come in and you'll just compound negatively. So I'll just go do something to shock my body, change my physiology, and it usually goes away very quickly. I mean, I used to sit with me for days and maybe even weeks. Now it sits with me for minutes, and then I'll do something about it. I just won't let it sit there and stew.
I love it. I remember one time when we were about to quit, it was, we had a deal. We purchased a deal at the auction. It was in Middlesex County. It was a 3-family house, and we lost $226,000. My husband, because I always tell my husband, don't worry, everything is going to go great. We're going to make so much money. And he really trusts me. But I mean, not every deal you're going to make money. I mean, some deals you just have to take the hit, right? But this deal in specific, we had all the problems in the world. Issue with the tenants, all the tenants. And the owner, it took us, I would say, 1.5 years to get him out. Then we hired different contractors to do the property. They left with our money, and we were fighting because we purchased that property with our partner. And I didn't want to mess up the relationship, because, you know, whenever you have a partner, you put all the points in perspective, but anything, like you say, anything could happen. They could get married, they could get engaged, whatever, and they do have priorities. But my husband wanted to kill him. It's like, no, it's his fault. He knew what he was doing. We knew at this, blah, blah, blah. And I told him, listen, I can guarantee you, and that's what I told him, I can guarantee you, in future deals, we're going to make more money. We're going to double, triple whatever we lost here. So that was the toughest part of my career, that I was like, listen, I was talking to myself, this is it. I don't think this is right for me. I think we should quit. So you ever have that moment, that specific deal that you say, okay, I don't want to do this anymore?
I had a deal like the one you're describing recently, where I, knowing what I know about JVs, wanted to go after my partner for not honoring their end of the bargain. And then I realized, listen, when you got into a JV, you signed on to go on this journey together. So we're going to take the L and split it. That's it. Like, as much as I wanted to make them like feel that pain for not doing what they said they were going to do, I had to realize, like, listen, this was a JV, you signed on. Things may have changed throughout the course of the project, but you committed to this at the beginning. Deals like that, this one's pretty fresh. This is only a 6-month-old, deal. Deals like that in the past would have hit me differently. They would have made me not trust people, not want to do deals with people, not want to do deals at all. But now what they do is they teach me something. And I'm fortunate that I could take that like on the chin, take that loss and keep moving. I think as you do more and more of these and you start to see success, you can also write off some things, right? Like, I don't feel the same way I used to about $10,000 or the $7,500 fine for the tree, or the $24,000 that we lost because somebody didn't do what they were supposed to do, whatever. So I'm fortunate to be able to say that, and so are you, right? Like, we've been doing this long enough now where we've had enough wins to overshadow the losses. But if you're getting started, I don't take that for granted. Like, somebody who's new and listening to this, if you're doing your first handful of deals, you can't lose money. You cannot have the first deal go wrong. If you do, you'll likely never do another one. So be very, very careful with the first deal you do and the first partner you get. Make sure that the first one's a win, and then start stacking wins on top. I did this too in the restaurant world. I remember we opened with $12,000 in the bank. That means that we had to outsell our expenses in month one, or we were going out of business. Most restaurants operate with like 14 days of cash. We had 12,000. Our first month, our food cost was 36,000. Wow. So if we didn't sell more than we spent, we were gone in 1 month. So I think that is part of getting started. I think you have to understand that that's what it takes to get started. But have the first one work out well, compound, stack, and keep getting some wins, and just know over time you're going to take some small losses. That's just part of the game. But don't let those losses, don't ever take a loss so big that it knocks you out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's the important part. And now
I love it.
we know better. Like we know, right? Like don't buy a $2.2 million teardown to spend another $2 million to build, to sell for 5.6, and then find out that there's no buyers at 5.6. And now you're having to reduce, and you don't do 50K price reductions at 5.6. You do 100, 200, 300K price reductions, and that's probably your profit. So, be smart. Take calculated risks, find the right partners, vet the deals, vet the partners. And yeah, you'll for sure have that experience though, where you're like, I'm over this. I want to go back to work for somebody else. I don't want the stress. I don't want the anxiety, but you work through it.
Right. Have you ever felt sometimes as a leader, we feel like we haven't accomplished too much? Like when you see yourself since the beginning of your career, and now that you're being so successful, having your team, having your employees, you just got married with an amazing wife. Like, how do you feel? Because sometimes I sit down in my bed and say, wow, thank you, Lord. Thank you, God, for everything that you've done for me. Because especially my journey, it was a little bit rough too, right? I was sexually abused when I was a kid. And just through this career, it was so hard because of my language barrier. But God is being so generous with me. And I always, every day I sit down and I'm super grateful. So how do you feel like seeing the old Gabe when they started this career and now being so successful?
So I struggle with gratitude at times. I have the achiever's curse. And so for me, I always want to do more. I always want to create more. I want to build more. I feel like God put something in me, a set of skills and gifts that I am expected and destined to use to create a lot of impact. Also, I have to remember that you have today all the things that you said yesterday would make you happy. So why aren't you happy? So Gabe 5 years ago was an alcoholic and an idiot and was trying to build a business and didn't really have like a lot of focus and direction. I was seeing some success, but the Gabe of today has everything that guy said he wanted, including the house, including the beautiful wife, including all these beautiful things. So remember that. Remember that the things that you said 5 years ago would make you happy, you have them all now. So why aren't you happy? So I navigate that battle all the time. It's the achiever's curse is the way I've been taught it. And it's like this want and desire to do more always. So you have to be very, very careful that you're not always chasing.
I know. And whenever we do our mornings meeting with the team, I always start with a gratitude. I want to hear from everyone, what are you grateful for? I mean, it doesn't have to be big things, just little things, that you're waking up, that you saw your child today or your kid today going to school, something that is meaningful to you so you could start the week. And it's great to hear because sometimes when you touch those special moments, you make people realize, okay, hey, there's people that are going through tough situations that, they're not even in your position and they're grateful. Why you're not going to be grateful? So that's beautiful that you share that. So let's go to the leadership part. What does impact means to you as a leader?
I want to see other people achieve their dreams. And if I can have a small part in that, that's all I ask. And I don't take credit for the work that they do. All I do is provide a blueprint, a framework, some things that I've learned, and then I transfer confidence. I think that's what I'm called to do. Like my mandate as a coach and mentor is to transfer confidence in my model to others so they can go and use it to do what it is that they want to do for them and their family. And when I see that work, that is the greatest reward. That is the stuff, they say, like if you do, like what would you do for free? Like if you love your work and you would do it for free, it's not work. That's how I feel about mentoring, coaching, and impact. Like I don't feel like I'm working when somebody calls me and says, hey, I got this and this issue and something's going wrong on this project and I don't know how to navigate this. And I'm like, oh, I know exactly what to do because I've been there. So let me help you because this is what I did and this is the outcome. And if that's helpful for you, I'm happy to do that. I love doing that. I love
because
it.
you're truly a leader, because you're creating more leaders, and they have to be grateful to have you by your side. My leader, my mentor was Luis Leiva, and I always talk about him because he taught me everything that I know now. And I called him last week. And for me, every Friday while I was working with him, it was Gratitude Friday. So I will go into his office and say, listen, Lou, I just want to say thank you for everything that you've done for me. It was like, Lim, again, it's Friday. But for me, it was super important because, like, people that are changing your life, you have to be very grateful. So you're changing so many people's life. And I hear from builders, like we just went to Puerto Rico, I don't remember his name, that worked with you. And he spoke highly about you. He was like, Gabe, I wouldn't be in this position if it wasn't for Gabe. So that's amazing, like hearing, and I'm pretty sure my mentor, that every time that I mention him, he feels that he changed somebody's life. So that's what we're doing as a leader. We're changing people's life. So I love to hear that. So you lead in growing communities of students. What do you look for in someone before mentoring them? That they have the drive?
Yeah, so we talked before about the 80-20 principle. Right. Well, really, there's a difference between the 80-20 and the 5-95. People don't often talk about that, but if you apply 80-20 to the top 20%, what you wind up getting is 5% of the people getting 95% of the results. That's so true in real estate and especially in retail. If you think about it, really active agents like you, like Amanda, like they will do a disproportionate amount of the business. Think about how much business you do. For you to do that much, that means there's got to be 50 agents that don't do any deals, right? Think about that because the statistics are what they are. So for me, I look for the 20% of the people that are going to do the 80% of the work. Those people are committed. I don't want to help you if you're interested. If you're interested, that's great. Go watch videos. Go down the YouTube rabbit hole. I have so much free content you could watch for hours. But if you're committed, call me. I'll help you.
I love it.
And then if you're obsessed, that's the difference. If you're committed, you're the 20%. If you're obsessed, you're the 5%. If you send me deals at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., if you do deal models and you're constantly doing—
And you have those?
I have those. You know them. The obsessed people, Jay, for example, obsessed. He's obsessed. This is his passion. He's not committed. He's obsessed. And so I love working with people who are obsessed.
Wow. I love that. And now that you're talking about obsession, I just hired a new agent. But you could tell she is obsessed of learning. And since that we're creating the, we want to help the Spanish community getting the real estate license. For me, it's really a blessing because they don't have that opportunity because of the language barrier. And this is what I say. If somebody gave me the opportunity, I'm going to give an opportunity to others. But having this lady, I'm telling you, Gabe, she showed up at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's like, listen, I'm here to do whatever it takes. She's doing videos. She's doing calls. She's really obsessed. And that's the people that you really listen. I will come here and I will stay here until 7, 9 o'clock at night just to help you out. So I'm agree with that. I know you went to Guatemala because you love to give back to your community. What happened in Guatemala? Something special happened in Guatemala. I would love for you to share with the audience, with the 10,000 people that are going to watch this video.
I've been to Guatemala a couple of times on missions trips to serve. I would say that I met God in Guatemala. I had this experience where I got to feel, see, audibly hear God's love through the people there. So it's different growing up Catholic and going to church. It's very cold and rote and routine. And I was an altar boy for 10 years. But it's very, very different when you have this personal relationship with God and when you go and travel to a place where everything else, all the noise is stripped away, you can really hear him. And so I got to do that in Guatemala, my first time there. And then when I went back a second time, I was baptized there.
Wow.
And that was really profound. I was reading and setting the state for the day. And I read something in scripture that said, when moved by the Spirit, take immediate action. Don't think, don't. And I said, oh, this is my prompting. This is my calling. Mm-hmm. There were going to be baptisms later that day. So I reached out to the pastor and I said, I want to be baptized today. Mm-hmm. The Spirit moved me and I took action. And so he said, well, it doesn't work like that. We have to talk. I want to understand why. What's your testimony? What's prompting this? Mm-hmm. And so we spoke, and later that day I was baptized there. And so Guatemala will always have a special place in my heart because of those reasons.
And Amanda was there with you?
The first time, yes. Second time I had gone on my own.
Wow, that's beautiful. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure it's the same feeling that we felt in Portugal. Mm-hmm. Because I know Amanda, and I love Amanda like she's my sister. Like she has a beautiful place in my heart because she's the one who really introduced us to the Lord, mm-hmm. right? And being in Portugal, surrounding ourselves with amazing, like we could really feel the Lord. Mm-hmm. And I was speaking with my husband, and like, this is what we're looking for. This is the peace that we want. This is the friendship that we're looking for. It was something special. And I tell my family, that wedding, that place, that moment, it was the most special place, moment. I will never forget that moment. That's why we decided to get baptized with my husband. And we remember that. And it was super important, not only for us, for our mm-hmm. daughters, right? To share that with them, it was super important. And as soon as we came back from Portugal, we started the everyday gratitude. So every day we pray together, mm-hmm. and we have to say something very simple. What are you grateful for? In the beginning, you were like, okay, I'm grateful because I wake up today. No, I want you to go deep. I want you to, be honest. Mm-hmm. And then little by little, they start learning about the Lord. We go into church, and it's been the most impactful thing that we're changing in our life. So I really want to thank you and Amanda for bringing us together, for learning more about the God, because, I mean, you're not changing just as a leader. You're just, teaching builders or at a level, but you're changing through faith, mm-hmm. which is so important. People, they don't see it because people, maybe they're not believers, but it's so important that we put God first with everything that we do. But thank you for that. I just want to say that. And, okay, let's move on.
Thank you for letting us have a role in that. That was a special place for us. And
I know this. So that's why.
Yeah, that's the place.
This is the place. Mm-hmm. This is the place. What do you feel when you see this? So tell us about your wife.
My wife is an angel. She is my angel, my gift from God. And she did for me what you're saying we helped do for you. Mm-hmm. She brought me back to faith. She showed me what it was to have a personal relationship with God. I knew the day I met her, I would marry her. I don't know how I knew,
really?
But I knew. There was a calling put on my heart that day, and I knew. And she says, that's cute to say, but it's not. It just is the reality of it. Right. I knew that day. And that's why we navigated all the things that we did to get to Madeira, to get to Portugal, and get married last year. It was not an easy journey.
How do you guys met?
At a real estate.
Well, I know, but I mean, you need the audience to know.
We met at a holiday party, at a real estate networking event, at a holiday party. We were both just getting started in the business. She as an agent, me as an investor. And some people at that event sat us together because we were both single. And as soon as I met her, I had already done some research online. So I knew who.
Are you kidding me?
I knew who was coming. Yeah, I knew who was coming. And then they put her next to me, and we had an amazing conversation. And I knew that day that this will be my wife. Like, God intends for me to marry this woman. And I didn't even have a really strong relationship with God then. But I just knew that there was a calling there. And yeah, it manifested itself in last year in Portugal. Mm-hmm. We were all together.
And how Amanda supported your journey, because I know she's been through good times and bad times.
Mm-hmm. She supports me by challenging me to be the man she knows God intends for me to be. She knows better than me what God wills for me. So she will challenge me in ways I'm unwilling to challenge myself.
Yeah.
And I am willing to challenge myself. I do hard stuff. I purposely seek out challenges that will stretch me. But she challenges me in different ways.
Yeah.
And the prompting is to do the right thing when nobody's looking, to be integrous with your word. All of the things that like are easy to say and read in books, but they're very difficult to do in real time. And she doesn't let me off the hook. Yeah. And I love that she does that, because it's easier to let your significant other off the hook.
Right.
Because then you don't have to have the difficult conversations. But when your partner does something that's not integrous or is not Christ-like, and you say to them, hey, I don't know that was right. Like, why did you behave that way? Did you think about that? Like, did you think about the effect of that? It really prompts them to sit and think. She does that for me. And I love that she does.
I love it. And every time that we go out, she speak about you like the way that, you could tell. Like right now you have tears in your eyes when you talk to her about her. But when she talks about you, it's like her face changes. It's like she has so much love for you. She really cares for you. He really admired you, what you went through, your tough moments, but you were able to manage those hard moments and just get out of it. And I'm pretty sure, you're gonna be together until you die, because that's the God's plan, right? And I cannot say enough how grateful we are to have you as a part of our family. So thank you for that. And thank you for sharing those moments too. What does family means to you? Are you guys planning to have kids?
We're in the middle of this family planning right now. So this is very timely and relevant. We're on our fertility journey and we're working on starting a family.
I love it.
For me, I imagine that it's our calling to be fruitful and multiply,
right,
and bring more disciples into the world, and then raise them up in a Christ-like fashion so they behave and treat others and impact others the way that God intends for us to impact others.
Amen.
So we're in it. We are quite
You're
literally in it.
You're going to be an amazing parents. And we pray for you guys every single day. And that's what I tell Amanda. You are always on my prayers. Because if she did that for me, for my family, what you guys did for us, it is very special. You don't know. I mean, if I could speak English more, I could tell you. Pero it means so much because my family could see the change. Like we were not like that before, but everything is because of you guys and everything is because of God. God is putting us in this position for a reason because we have a mission. We all have a path to follow, and we could help other people to join us in our journey. It's amazing. Like if I see agents that when they start the office, they're not close to God. I'm seeing them now leading the prayer, the morning prayer, is really a blessing. It is for me, especially for me, is like, okay, I could die tomorrow and I'm happy because you accomplished something amazing. And I don't even know how you guys feel because it's not you just changing my life. You have changed Michelina's. You're changing a lot of people. And everybody that is surrounded about you, with you guys, it feels incredible, amazing. So I want to add to that. Okay, now let's go very deep.
Okay, that was pretty deep to start, but...
Okay, so Gabe, at what point do you realize alcoholic was holding you back?
So my journey with addiction and alcohol is a little different than what most people know it to be. Like, I didn't hit rock bottom. Like, I was, by all appearances, I was winning. Like, work was good. I had a team. We were scaling a business. I was in an incredible relationship. Like, so for someone looking from the outside in, it seemed like everything was fine. But the reality is, like, you don't always have to bottom. Like, you don't always have to get into an accident or lose your job or go bankrupt. Like people might think or might have seen on television. Sometimes bottom finds you. Sometimes bottom comes up to where you are. My bottom came up and found me. Wow. And so it had become unmanageable. I had found myself depending on alcohol to get through the day. So I would start my day with a drink and I would end my day with a drink. That is usually a sign that it's unmanageable and that you have a problem.
And what year was that?
I'd say probably 7 years ago, it had reached that point where it had become unmanageable because I've been sober now for a little over 5 years. And I would say for 2 years, for 2 years, I navigated it, but I was functional, but I was clearly an alcoholic and I wasn't able to manage it. It wasn't like I could have a drink. No, I needed a drink every day. For probably a little over 2 years, it was really bad. But I've been a problem drinker my whole life. So I think the reality is that this thing was always there, and it just like really got aggressive when I started having a lot of success at work, because then it bought me freedom, and the idle hands are the devil's handiwork, right? Like, so as soon as I had time and I'm like, oh, business is good, I'm just going to go and disappear to a bar. And that became this thing that I would do every day. And so anyway, yeah, I would say I probably, navigated that for like over 2 years before I finally got sober.
Wow. What was the lowest moment? And how do you begin your path to sobriety?
Mm-hmm.
How do you pronounce that?
Sobriety.
Sobriety.
My lowest moment was the moment that my wife gave me back the engagement ring, because we were engaged. And I had proposed, and she said, I'm not going to marry an alcoholic. And so she gave me back the ring. And that was really, really tough. And that was very sobering. And so I knew at that moment there was no getting her back. Like, well, for sure there was no getting her back unless I got sober. But there was no getting her back at that moment. She was very, very clear. This is what I was talking about when I say my wife will challenge me. That was the ultimate challenge. And I don't take for granted how hard that was for her. Right. That was much, much harder for her than it was for me. For her to walk away from that relationship at the time. And so they say that you get sober for someone else, but you stay sober for you. That was my story. I got sober for her, but then here we are 5 years later or more. February was 5 years. I'm sober now for me and for the people that I serve and for the God who saved me.
Yeah. And I remember those times because I actually, when you guys got engaged, I went shopping with her for the wedding dress. Mm-hmm. And she had everything ready. And I cannot imagine how hard it was for her to do that, to give you the ring back. And I remember you told me something in Puerto Rico about you going to the hospital, that something happened, that you almost died.
I had to go. So when I tried to get sober, because I say there's a difference between when I tried to get sober and when I got sober. When I tried to get sober, I went to the hospital and I got a prescription for benzodiazepines to help you wean off of alcohol. Because if you're an alcoholic and your body's dependent on it physically, you get very, very sick when you stop. So if you stop cold turkey, you go into these like shocks and you can die. So when I was doing that, though, I was trying to get well. It was very, very different when she left and I actually committed to sobriety. Something happened that day where I didn't need drugs. I didn't need anything. The Lord lifted the compulsion to drink completely. So the first time that I did this, I attempted to get sober. I was just going through the motions. I was doing what you hear people do. They go to a meeting, they go to a doctor, they get a prescription, and they try, they dabble. But when she left, that time, it was real. It was very, very real. I prayed, I surrendered, and the compulsion to drink was lifted. I didn't get sick. I didn't need medicine. I didn't need anything. All I needed to do was pray.
Right. Do you feel comfortable talking about this?
Yeah, I speak about this in private whenever I'm with friends and it comes up. It's not something that comes up often. I haven't gone outwardly and delivered my testimony publicly. I haven't done that. And maybe that's a prompting. Maybe that's something that I'm being called to do, but I haven't done that with the exception of when I got baptized.
Right. Do you know how many people are going through the same situation you were? And do you know many people are going to listen to this? And because sometimes you are in that hole, like you don't have nobody. Thank God you had Amanda, you have the Lord who helped you out, but the people that they're surrounding themselves with is not helping. But if you could just change someone's life, it will be great. Like for me, speaking about my, what I suffer during my childhood, honestly, I don't really care if I share it because it doesn't bother me anymore. And everything that I went through, I mean, my dad, he was an alcoholic. My dad, he was very abusive with my mom, but it was because, of the drink. It was having too much drink. And for me to see that, it was so hard. So that's why I went to therapy because I didn't want that for my kids. Of course, I mean, we always drink, but, nothing to the extent that every day we have to, like you said, every day that you have to drink something in order for you to move on your day. It's crazy to hear that. And that's why I appreciate you sharing your story. I know it's very intimate, but, sometimes things happen to you because of a reason. And I think when I share my story about the abuse, I'm helping other people. Guarantee. And why? Because the culture here in America is different. Like you get to a sleepover in anybody's house and you don't really care. You don't really pay attention to what could happen in that house. So that's why I bring the awareness to a lot of people. Take care of your child because you don't know. And I was super quiet. Like when I went through that stage with that issue, I didn't tell anyone. Like I thought it was my fault. I thought that, because of me, it happened. But eventually I was growing up. I was very mature. I was like, no, it was not my fault. It was the people that my dad was surrounding. And, they see a little girl and something happened, right? So it was not my fault. And I decided to take therapy and it relieved me so much. And I'm glad that I could share my story and it could help other people. So thank you for sharing that. Something that, I know you're being uncomfortable right now, but it is important.
No, I think that, well, thank you for sharing your story. I know you've shared it before.
Yeah.
But it's important for us, like our story's not about us. So if God was able to meet us where we were and not leave us there and bring us to where we are today, it's our responsibility. It's our duty now to share our story and serve others with it. And I have not been good about that. And this is the prompting that I needed to be more vocal and share it.
I love it.
Yes.
Okay. So were there warning signs you ignored before this got serious?
Oh yeah. I was very lucky. Like when I said I didn't hit rock bottom found me. I would drive around drunk all day. I would drive around with open beverages in my lap. A cop would pull up behind me and I'm driving and I'm just praying he doesn't pull me over. Because if he does, I'm going to jail. I have a drink in my lap. Like these were, I had so many close calls. I'm not proud to admit that I did these things, that I drove the way I did. And it was irresponsible. It was like a hazard. It was dangerous to other people, not just myself. So there were a lot of signs. I ignored all the signs because I kept getting lucky. And so, if somebody pulls up behind you and they pull away and you just like breathe a sigh of relief, you prayed he wouldn't pull you over, and then you grab the drink, clearly you didn't learn a lesson. That was my story for a long time. I had a lot of experiences like that. But I ignored them. I ignored them because outwardly everything seemed fine.
Right.
People didn't know, or at least I assumed people didn't know, but the reality is people know. And I was like, oh, but I'm doing well at business. Like, we're building a team, we're building a business, we're scaling, we're winning. So yeah, I ignored all the signs.
Yeah. And I know when we go through a tough situation or difficult time, who suffer the most is the family. Your parents. I know they suffer so much because, how many siblings do you have?
One brother.
Okay. So do you remember any special moment that they talk to you and they say something that it really changed during these times?
Our culture isn't really very emotionally communicative, just not the way the Portuguese culture is. My family is not the type of family that does that. Like, we don't say, I'm sorry. We don't say thank you.
Really?
It's just an expectation. It's just the way we are culturally. And I don't think that it's bad or good. It just is. Like, that's just the way we were raised. So I'm used to that. And so we left a lot of things unsaid. I know what you said is true. Like, they suffered a lot. My parents, my brother bailing me out of jail multiple times, picking me up, at crazy hours, me ruining holidays because I got too drunk. Like, there's just countless numbers of those experiences that I know I put them through and they suffered through. We are a super strong unit now as a result of those things. I imagine. Do I wish that they didn't happen and that we were where we are now without them? Of course. I'm sure they probably wish that too. But that wasn't our story. That wasn't my story. I mean, it's not an excuse. I don't excuse the behavior. Like, no brother should ever have to pick his brother up at jail at 3 a.m. Like, that's not a thing you should have to do. No father should have to go searching for his drunk and incoherent son in the middle of New York because his phone ran out of battery as he was screaming at somebody. Like, that's not good. And those things are real things that happened.
Our culture is the same. Like, well, I don't know if our culture, but my parents, they were like that. Like, for them to say, I love you, or I'm here to help you, or to talk about some things about delicate, like, about sex. It was very, like, it's a no-no.
Right.
Like, but I learned through therapy that expressing your emotions is so important because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow, like, you're gone. That's it. And you're going to regret so many things. Oh, I love your hat, by the way. I love it.
Thank you.
I need one. So, who is this?
That's my dad and my niece, my goddaughter.
So, your dad, he was a builder too.
Yes. My dad is my hero. He's the man that taught me everything I know about how to build, how to not just build houses, but how to build a family, how to be there. Like what I said about, like, we're not the please, thank you, I'm sorry family, but we just live it. We're not the types that say it, but we just live it. Like, there's never a question about whether or not my dad will show up. Like, he will show up. Like, that's just it. And when you know that, I mean, you can move mountains when you know that you have the support of your parents at home or of a sibling or of a significant other. It just, you move different in the world when you know that they have your back. Right. So I often say, like, I was born on third. Like, all I had to do was run to home plate. Like, that's the family that I was raised in. Again, despite us not being, like, emotionally communicative, like, we don't say things, we act things out. My dad showed me how to do that. He still shows me, even now, even at 43 years old, I still have the support of my father and my mom, and I'm super blessed. I don't take that for granted.
I love your mom.
My mom's great, yeah.
Such an amazing woman. It was hard to continue building your business while battling with addiction behind scenes?
In the moment, no. Like, if I'm being honest and I think back, I had just figured out how to navigate it so well that it wasn't hard. In fact, it just made it worse. Like, I was more emboldened because we were winning. Business was going great. And so I'm like, oh, I can keep doing this. Like I can keep acting like an asshole and drinking all day and disappearing because we're still doing great at business. But what I realized was I was operating in a clouded state all the time. It wasn't until they say, in addiction that the lights come on at day 90. That's how long it takes for like the poison to work its way out of your body. And that was very true for me. Within 90 days, I was like, holy shit, this fog was lifted. I could not believe how long I had operated in this fog. Suddenly I was sharper. My language was there. I was quick. Even the way I could physically see, hear, act, think I managed to make it work, but not at the level that I was capable of. And the last 5 years show you that, right? I was doing okay, but like the last 5 years, obviously I've been doing much, much better as a result of.
I love it. Do you remember the first day that you stopped?
The first handful of days are a blur. You don't really remember them because you're in a clouded state and the body is fighting. So for the first week to 2 weeks, it's really all a blur. I don't remember much of anything. I don't remember being able to communicate that well. I wasn't physically ill like some people get, but I was visually and mentally impaired. I was just, I could tie my shoes and walk around, but I couldn't think. I couldn't do emails. I couldn't do a phone call. And then over time, the body resets. And at day 90, I remember being super focused, like I hadn't been in years, and saying, oh my God, I've spent years in this fog. I cannot believe it. And now every day I'm like this. Every day I'm excited because this is what it's like to live, to optimally, to be thriving, not to be just surviving.
Yeah. What do you have to give up? Not just alcohol, but people, places, and habits.
Part of what makes recovery so hard for people is that they return back to the same people, places, and things that got them sick and kept them unwell. So for me, I knew early on I could not go back to those places. I wasn't like a people person, people, places, and things were not my problem. Places and things were. I didn't drink with others. I was the type of person that would just disappear on my own. And in the shadows, I would go and drink. So I knew that I couldn't go back to those places. So it took me over a year before I could even walk in to a bodega again. Because I used to go to bodegas to get a lot of my booze in the middle of the day because nobody would know me there. I could go in and out quick. I would drink in the parking lot by myself. So it took me over a year before I could go back to a bodega. But I avoided those places. I avoided those things for as long as I could. I didn't go to a bachelor party that I was invited to that year. I knew that was not well. I would not do well there. I'm not going to go to Vegas. I'm sober for 3 months. I would die. I will die in Vegas. So I'm not going. So you have to be willing to make those tough decisions.
What's something surprising you discovered about yourself once you got sober?
That I had another gear that what I thought was me living optimally was actually just me thriving. I'm surviving. I now realized, wait, there's thriving. There's another level. And over the last 5 years, as I've been sober and I've worked on my physical health and wellness, I've realized there's even more levels. So whatever it is that you think you're capable of, you are capable of more. It's just, and once I got rid of the booze, that was my hindrance. That was my crutch. Once I got rid of that, I was like, oh wait, there's levels here, and I'm getting better. And I'm aging in reverse. My biomarkers, I get blood work done consistently. Every time I get my blood work done, my doctor commends me. He's like, you're actually going backwards. Biologically, you are aging backwards. Your biomarkers show that you're getting healthier as you get older.
So why is the reason that you do blood work?
Just consistently, I want to have a baseline. I want to know how I'm performing. I want to know how my body's reacting to the things I'm eating and doing. So I do blood work every 3 months now. It used to be every 6 months. Okay. Now every 3 months I'm checking. And I'm going tomorrow for labs.
Have you found new communities of friendship that support the sober version of you?
Everybody supports the sober version of me now. I think that people tolerated the drunk version of me for so long that now they're just happy that the sober version of me is around. But I do know that there's still skepticism, still some people, because you did so much damage as a drunk that it's hard for people to imagine that this is real. So I know my mom especially still struggles with that. She still has that fear that I'm going to relapse. So
But do you ever ask for forgiveness?
yeah, you do your amends. You do
Yeah.
your amends. And I did do my amends with my wife.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really important. She's explained to me why that was so important. I didn't know at the time why it was so important. But there's probably some other amends that I should make.
The reason that I tell you is because one of the things that my therapist told me is that I have to forgive my dad. And I did had a meeting with him. And I tell him, listen, I forgive you for everything that I went through. Because it was not your fault. He was raised the way that he was raised because of his dad.
Mm-hmm.
His dad was a musician. He was also an alcoholic. And, he was my dad, he was very strict. Strict to the point that he will tell me, if you have a boyfriend, I'm going to cut your head. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to, how I'm going to walk with, but he would traumatize us in the way that you cannot imagine. He will burn my brother's hands in the stove because he wrote on a book that he was taking care of. Like, he was very strict. He will cut his hair bald because he did something wrong. He took the bicycle or the car. He was very extreme to that point that said, oh my God, I mean, it's not his fault. Mm-hmm. So I forgive him, and I also ask for forgiveness just in case I told him something in a special moment that I didn't meant, right? Mm-hmm. Because I was so angry and he didn't know. When he found out what happened to me, he wanted to kill. He was like, but thank God the other person was dead.
Yeah.
But I feel that he realized in that moment that he made so many mistakes. Mm-hmm. And it's normal. To ask for forgiveness, it is normal. I think it's a process that you have to go, that you have to take in order for you to be well.
To find peace.
Yeah, to find peace. Mm-hmm. So that's why I ask you if you ask for forgiveness. Okay, and so what part of in your transition, faith, what part plays in the transition of
my sobriety journey? So faith was the only thing that kept me sober. Mm. At the beginning, you're just doing everything you can to fight the urge to relapse. Mm-hmm. But the only thing that you can rely on is faith, is your faith in the Lord, who found you where you were, but didn't leave you where you found you. Mm. That's what I often would say to myself. Like, right. He could have found me drunk behind a bodega with my engagement called off, upset, with my business just floundering or whatever, and just said, he'll figure it out. But he didn't. He lifted me up. He didn't leave me where he found me. And so for that, I had gratitude, and I was faithful. That, like, the Lord who restored would continue to restore. So long as I remained faithful, I prayed consistently every day the same prayer, and until what I was praying for came to be. Mm. So I often say, like, I've done a lot of very hard things, right? Getting sober is hard. Running a restaurant is hard. Doing Ironman is hard. These are all hard things. The hardest thing I've ever done was to remain faithful and committed that first year in sobriety. Mm. Like, getting sober was easy. All you had to do was surrender. Right. That was it. That part was easy. Then for a year, staying sober, that was hard. Staying faithful, staying committed, praying the same prayer every day and having nothing happen. Wow. That was tough.
That's so deep. If someone is listening right now and secretly struggling, what is the very first step they should take?
They're probably struggling in silence, like I was. Mm-hmm. They have to first accept and admit that they have a problem and that it's unmanageable. These are the first couple of steps of AA, right? You have a problem, it's unmanageable, it can be fixed, but not by you. Mm-hmm. If you could fix it, you would have fixed it. The same thinking that got you there isn't going to get you out of there. Mm-hmm. So if you're struggling in silence, the first thing I would encourage you to do is go tell somebody, go tell someone, whether it's go to a meeting or tell someone very close to you. Most people are not equipped to help you with addiction because they're not addicts. If you can find someone who is an addict and who is recovered and you can tell them, they're the best people to help you, because addicts all think the same regardless of what your like vice was. It could be heroin, it could be alcohol, it could be pornography, whatever it is. All addicts think the same. So we can help each other in ways that other people can't. So I would say go tell somebody. Go tell somebody. It's the hardest thing you'll do is admit that you have a problem to somebody else. And once you do that, you're on the road to recovery. But until you do that, you cannot be helped.
Nice. What is the reason that you did Ironman?
So I did Ironman the very first year, like in early sobriety. I knew that I wanted to double down on discipline. I knew that my discipline muscle was very weak, and I ran the risk of relapsing if I didn't do something to strengthen my discipline muscle. I couldn't think of anything that would be more discipline than becoming an Ironman. And I happened to see that the Ironman in Portugal was on my birthday that year. And I was turning 40. And I said, this is it. This is the thing that I'm going to do that's going to solidify my sobriety and is going to, grow me, stretch me into the man that I know I can be. That's why I chose Ironman.
I love it. If you could leave a message behind for your students, for your family, and the world, what it will be?
A message behind today or when I go?
When you go.
When I go.
That's the legacy. Yeah. That's deep.
Yeah. My legacy. I think that to leave a legacy is good. To live a legacy is better. So if you're living in integrity and you're doing the things that you believe God wills for you to do, that's the life worth living. That's the legacy you're living. And then the legacy you leave will be with the people who are surrounded by you, have taken from your actions. If the world is left better because the people that I touched were better off, if I left you better than I found you, and that's what you say about me, if that's what you say about me when I'm gone, I will have lived a good life.
Oh, Gabe, we love you so much. Thank you for this amazing interview. I was super excited, happy that we're just sharing your story with a lot of people. And I know we went very deep on it. And it is special. For me especially, it is special because you're vulnerable. You're changing so many people's life. You have an amazing wife, but she also has the best man. Like, we admire you, me and my husband, we admire you so much because you've been through a lot. But look at you now. Like, the things that we see in you is all greatness. Like, we cannot wait for you to see you within 5 years from now, 10 years from now, with your children, running around. It's going to be a blessing. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to share your story, your special story with my audience. I really appreciate your time. And do you want to say something to your audience, my audience?
Thanks for listening. Thank you for having me. I hope that you're better off for having heard my story. And it's my honor to serve and to know and be your friend. And we love you too.
We love you. So thank you, guys. I'm super thankful for our sponsor, Estacia Restaurants, Altera Home Loans, Animac, and also Hometown Talent Insurance. Bye. See you in the next one.
Bye.